So in some live action news, although it's still related to anime in some respect, the two live action Rurouni Kenshin films, the final and also Saishusho, the beginning, were going to come out on July 3rd and August 7th, but they have been delayed, and they've been delayed until spring 2021, which honestly, really good timetable. At least with everything, the way it looks like everything's going on in the world right now, definitely it does seem like that is the best time. Just say spring 2021. Not a specific month, not a specific day, just this is the year, this is the time of year. I think that's what makes the most sense right now, at least with all the information we have going on right now, and with some talks of a vaccine, but nothing being definite as of this time. So it will be delayed. These are the two final Rurouni Kenshin live action films. Not a fan of Rurouni Kenshin myself, never really got into it, even though I always was intrigued by the commercials that ran on Toonami back in the day, but I never had the chance to get into it. Tristan and I did talk about the author of Rurouni Kenshin a while back, so that's something I don't want to touch on right now, but we have talked about Kenshin before on the show. Tristan loves Rurouni Kenshin, so I feel bad talking about this with him right now, because I think he may have seen the live action films. I could swear that the original ones were released by Funimation, or at least one of them was. I love the actor that plays Kenshin, Takeru Sato, because he's actually, now my Toku side is coming out here, we actually have Toku Station on our Toku Dragon channel, where Takeru Sato used to play Kamen Rider Den, Ryotaro, in Kamen Rider Den, and he's such an amazing actor, so I'm so happy that he's been able to do all these films. He's come back for Den when he's needed to every now and again, but you know, not all the time, but just for some cameos, which good for him, because he doesn't have to do that at all, because I mean, this dude is in major motion pictures now, and I've heard some great things about not just the original Rurouni Kenshin, the anime, the manga, and also these state of live action films. But I want to talk about why this has been delayed, because of course we know why, but there are some official statements on the matter by director Keishi Otomo, who said that the studio shut down after the government declared a state of emergency, so the entire production came to a halt. And that's something that I think, when it comes to any kind of production, doesn't matter if it's live action, if it's animated, whatever it might be, movie, TV show, whatever, people sometimes forget how much work goes into time, specifically that type of work goes into the creation of something. So sometimes people go, oh yes, the movie came out, you know, in 2019 or in 2020, and they leave it there forgetting that the movie was filmed, and then the exterior shots were shot, and then lines were dubbed over when necessary. Stunt actors were brought in to do other scenes when sometimes the actors weren't even there. So much stuff happens with, you know, films and TV shows and whatnot. So while they could have been pretty damn close to finishing it, it seems as if the staff could not do post-production work, prepare for the film's release, and other stuff. It says here in the article, and other tasks. We don't know what those are specifically, but I'm assuming it's just maybe marketing material and whatnot, or just doing special effects and whatnot. Because if you have your computer set up at work and you don't have that same setup at home, you have something nice, at home. It's not an awful setup, but it's not something that's made to actually do all the CGI work that you need done. Also, don't know if they're working with other companies that are outside of Japan in other countries that have been affected by what's going on in the world right now. So because of that, we definitely don't know how much of this film is done, but what we do know is they definitely can't finish it under these conditions. Also, Otomo mentions that with the new release date, they actually want to have a better level of quality. So that actually would be nice for those that are fans of this franchise and of this of these live action films. If you can actually get a better film out of this delay, that actually would be really nice. Interestingly enough, though, I don't know if this is going to be brought to the US. I'm quite interested if it would be in some respect. I haven't heard anything about this one being brought to the US, but I could swear I mentioned a while back, yes, Funimation screened, the initial 3 films they screened, but again, we don't know how this is going to work at all, these last 2, but they did really well when, both in Japan and when Funimation screened them, so I have to imagine that at a certain point, Funimation will bring these back once things start to get a little bit more grounded again. So I would imagine that Funimation perhaps could bring this, if this actually does end up hitting Japanese theaters in spring of 2021, perhaps around that same time, let's say it's early spring, maybe late spring or summer, we actually end up having it in US theaters. If people are inclined to go to theaters again, which also that, opens up a whole can of worms in that direction as well. And also, sadly, another direction of how will theaters be working and can Funimation. So I mentioned in our last story talking about Higurashi that in Japan, when it comes to Japanese TV stations, anime companies, anime producers would actually pay the TV stations to air their anime. So in this case, though, when it comes to anime films in the US, it's actually, usually anyway, it's Funimation or other companies actually renting out the theaters on certain days of the week. That's why your local theater will randomly have an anime showing on a Wednesday at 10 p.m. and you're like, I can't make that. I have work in the morning. And the theater is already, I said the word local, but it's already a freaking hour and a half drive away. How local is that? But still, it's the only theater in your area that has it, and there's a reason why. It's because Funimation actually has to rent out that theater, and that's the cheapest day, and the day that doesn't have any, crazy Avengers, Disney-style blockbusters in the theaters. So I don't know if this will go to theaters. I don't know if this will be streamed in some way by Funimation to try to get people to subscribe to their streaming service during times like this. And try to get their numbers up when everything gets back to normal. I have no idea how that's going to go, but I do have a feeling that Funimation will be licensing it when it does eventually hit Japanese theaters in some way or another. So, either way, before we move on to our next story, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, please comment down below. I want to hear some of your thoughts about this. And if you're listening in through our Podbean, then I would love to hear what you have to say about this, either in those comments or through our Twitter account at Those Guys Radio. So, we'd love to hear what all of you have to say about these delays. If you're a fan of Kenshin, if you're a fan of these films, tell me what you think down below.